Once again, if you guys like the content that we provide, to be sure to subscribe today to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming content as we look forward to this weekend's qualifying for the 109th running of the Indy 500, as well as this weekend's upcoming Route 66 Nationals from Joliet, Illinois. So if you want to keep up with all the action, subscribe down below so you don't miss any of the videos. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Day 2 of practice is wrapped up here for the 109th Indianapolis 500. We didn't have to wait long for the rain delay. We met it early in the morning, but we didn't have to wait 5 hours like we did yesterday. We actually got to see some long time on-track running. What did you see out there early on?
Yeah, definitely. We were delayed for about an hour and a half or so. We ended up with about 5 hours total of running today. We did have a few pop-up showers come through, but not enough to where we lose the track. We ended up losing about an hour of practice due to those pop-up showers, but when the cars were on track, each of the teams were definitely trying to make up time, get out onto the track and go through their race simulations, and we even started to see cars start to trim out just a little bit and start working on qualifying and single car runs.
And throughout the day, we saw a lot of drivers who, for the first time, really got to get a handle on their race cars. I've heard drivers like Ferrucci complain about the handling of his car. He went back to last year's setup just to kind of reset because he liked how that one handled. Ryan Hunter-Reay apparently complained as well. You noticed the Rahal cars not exactly performing up to standard either.
Yeah, so, and this one actually was Graham Rahal in specific, where he just did not seem like he could keep up with the pack, which obviously is an issue. You know, he would do one lap with Alex Plo right behind him, and then he'd probably have, come around the next lap, and Alex Plo would be probably like 15 car lengths in front going into the same turn, and it's only 43, 44 seconds per lap. That's a lot of ground to lose per lap when you're in the draft of another car. So they definitely have some work to do ahead of them. They are currently wrapping the backup cars, or in our generation we called those the T cars, officially, because they're getting them ready for the pit stop competition. But, and I'm going to put this out there, there is a cutoff. By tomorrow night, you have to have your chassis number entered in on which one you're going to qualify.
And as well, there was another issue that happened later on in the afternoon as the Andretti Armada made their way back out onto the racetrack. An interesting scenario for Kyle Kirkwood came up where his headrest seemingly came loose while he was on pace. Going 200 miles an hour, he would go into the corners, the headrest would shove his head forward, and then in every single corner, and then when he's on the straightaways, it would shove his head back. And he went through that for a couple laps until eventually bringing it in. So a couple of tweaks and setups being made to make sure everything's right and dandy. But another story that we're still following as well is the Prema cars, who finally were able to get some on-track running this afternoon.
Yeah, those cars did not do too much pack running today. Most of their efforts were single car attempts. Later in the day, they did start to take some of the diffuser strakes out of the cars, which we would affectionately call trimming out, where you start removing the downforce. And a lot of that's probably trying to get the drivers comfortable with those cars. So by the time we get to tomorrow, they can start tweaking the wing angles back to get less downforce and less drag and make the cars go quicker, getting them ready for qualifying, because that team is definitely on the radar for that last row shootout. And if you're on that radar of that, you need as much time as possible working on qualifying trim. That way you can try to be safe. You may start row 10, row 9, but that's better than having to face Sunday qualifications here at Indy, unless you're in that Fast 12.
Speaking of the Fast 12, once again, the Penske cars look unstoppable early on in the practice sessions here for the 500. Joseph Newgarden oozing with confidence getting out of the race car. The team packed it up early with how good the car felt. Will Powers up in the media center said that the handling of the car is comfort level is better already now than it was last year at the same time. And Scott McLaughlin, a lot of people looking at him, the way he's running on traffic, as a early front-runner contender to win this race this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at Joseph Newgarden in particular, we're going to go on a quick little case-by-case basis here. Joseph Newgarden, he has a brand new car. His last two winners have been put in the museum for the rest of their existence. But they have a lot to go off of what that car had last year, and Joseph was very strong throughout the entire month. So it's not a blank sheet, but there is a lot of tweaks, obviously, with the hybrid system. Will Power, he struggled massively in race trim, and that's what they've been working on a lot the last couple of days is race trim. And he has a lot more confidence because in the race last year, if you remember back, he kind of fell back to the middle of the pack after starting on the front row. And he said in the media session after practice day that he feels a lot more confident. With Scott McLaughlin, that car is the exact same car that he won pole here. They literally just put it in the trailer and did not touch it for an entire year. And they wheel the thing out, and he hasn't been making the noise that Newgarden or Power has. He has been putting out those fast speeds, but he's still up there and he's still a strong contender.
And then lastly, before we go into the results and the interviews that we captured today, the ongoing story for Kyle Larson is his backup driver, Tony Kanaan. Because of the rain early on in the day, once again, the session was moved for the orientation program to tomorrow at 10 a.m. But from what I'm hearing, there's a possibility for more rain. I know the Storm Prediction Center has already released a bit of a categorical update saying that we're kind of in the warning area, not so much as bad as it is up towards Wisconsin and Michigan, but we're still looking at rain tomorrow. And already some people were asking in the media center, this is the 2013 Indy 500 winner. Does he even need an orientation program at this point?
He does, and as we mentioned kind of yesterday when we were talking about this in the video, there has been a few changes, whether it be some of the updates with the car and then also the hybrid system itself. If you are not a full season driver, regardless if you drove the 500 last year or not, or if you are, been out of the car a couple years, you have to do these orientation or refresher programs to get you back up to speed. And even for a 2013 Indy 500 winner, it's mandatory. Even for a two-time champion of this race like Takuma Sato, it's mandatory. You have to do it. And, getting those laps for him is going to be critical, especially with the hybrid system updates to the car.
With that being said, we do have the top 10 results to go over, as well as the bottom 5 to give you an idea where we're at for qualifying, and then we will have interviews to show you from this morning's bullpen sessions. But of course, we have to give a quick shout out to our friends at Peak Performance.
Protect your vehicle with Peak Original Equipment Technology. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle.
And at the top of the pecking order today after day 2 of practice is the number 10 of Alex Plow, setting the fastest lap of the week so far at a 2:27.546. Nearly 2 miles an hour adrift is the number 12 of Will Power, who topped the timesheets yesterday. Third place, Team Penske teammate Joseph Newgarden. Fourth place, teammate to Alex Plow, Scott Dixon. And a little bit of a surprise in 5th place with the Juncos Hollinger driver of Connor Daly. 6th place, Penske affiliated AJ Foyt Racing is David Malukas. 7th place, Marcus Armstrong. 8th place, Helio Castroneves. 9th place, the Dreyer and Reinbold entry of Jack Harvey. And rounding out your top 10, the number 21 from Ed Carpenter Racing, Christian Rasmussen. And looking at your bottom 5 after day 2 of practice, a little bit of a surprise to see the number 7 entry of Christian Lundgaard. This is the second day in a row that we've seen one of these Arrow McLaren cars towards the bottom. However, he did say in an interview today that he was very comfortable in the car and it felt like home. In 31st, we have the number 90 Prema entry from Callum Ilott. 32nd, Stingray Robin, his Juncos Hollinger entry. 33rd, a little bit of surprise, the other AJ Foyt entry of Santino Ferrucci. And rounding out the field today, another surprise, two-time pole winner, Ed Carpenter in his Ed Carpenter Racing Chevrolet.
All right, so second time back at the Speedway, you got your first day in. What was the emotions like getting the car out there and getting those first shakedowns since the crash back at the test?
Yeah, it was just good to get back in and you'll feel a comfortable balance again. So that helped, kind of build the confidence back up after the open test. So even regardless of the crash, the balance of the car didn't feel quite where it needed to be then. So I felt like we were in a better spot yesterday and now just could work on some speed.
Adds a whole new weight to the rear of the car. How important is it to go out there and get some run times with it, knowing that you have a whole new thing to worry about when you go out there in the race?
Yeah, I mean, obviously trying to figure out what to do with the hybrid, where to make it effective. Also with the setup, I feel pretty confident in our ability to run what we're doing and to make it work. I know that we're close. I had a couple of moments yesterday, but once we get it sorted, I think we'll be fine.
And after the GP, you guys had a really good qualifying position, but it was taken away from you before you even had a chance to start. Was it good to kind of get that out of your mind and get those first few laps in now that you can focus fully on running the 500?
Yeah, I think after the GP, it was really tough because we knew we were super strong, and just with the way the race played out, we knew we would have had a chance to perform really well. which was really unfortunate. But those things just happen. It's motorsport. Things break. It just happens. So right now it's just about keeping our head down and focusing forward. And we know we're strong, and we've got a really good we've got really good momentum. So we're just trying to keep that rolling.
Your first weekend here at the Speedway, what's the emotions like going to walk into this place knowing you get to try and compete at the 500 in a couple weeks?
Well, the emotions are definitely exciting. I'm very, very excited. Unfortunately, we have rain now, so we're a bit time limited of drive time. Also, yesterday there was a bit of rain, and then we had some, let's say, issues with the car that we compromised our driving time. But at the end, everything went well because we managed to put the car in a place. We did a shakedown. The car felt good. So overall, the car is ready. Now we just need to wait until it's going to be dry and we get back on track. And yeah, definitely, I'm really excited for this race. I already expect there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of fans, a massive event. Finally it's the main race of the season, so really looking forward for it.
Not your first time back at the Speedway, but in brand new colors that are somewhat familiar to you. You're back at Prema after running with him in GP3. Your third time back here at the Speedway in general for the 500. What's the emotions like? Fourth? Lost count. What's the emotions like coming back here to a team that you're already familiar with?
Yeah, it's good. We've got a lot of work and a lot of preparation to do here. So with the weather, it's a little bit annoying, but the car felt good yesterday, and I think we have a lot of speed to unlock. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
You know, going back to last year, the struggles you went through just trying to get into the show, you had Tony Kadon come to you and put all of his belief into you to bring you here onto this team and have him in your corner, and also having another experienced driver in Jerry Hildebrand. How much has that helped you coming back here for your second attempt to make the race for your first time?
Yeah, it's huge. Tony was extremely generous last year, and helping me when we really didn't know each other at all. Saw how much of a struggle it was, and wanted to come help. And now having him through the whole year really, but all of our running for the 500 has been awesome. He's one of the best here. He's obviously won the race. He's been competitive here every time he's come, and JR is a bit of the same way. He's been super strong here, has a wealth of experience, and having the two of them together, I think I have more experience to pull from than anyone else at this point.
And that is going to wrap the video here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for day 2 of the Indianapolis 500 practice. Tomorrow, you're just going to see Kevin on screen as me and Brody are going to pack up and head north to Chicago to get ready for the Route 66 Nationals this upcoming weekend. So if you want to keep up with that, be sure to subscribe down below. Once again, thank you to our partners at Peak Performance for all the support they have given us last year, and especially this year with what they're doing for the 2025 season. We're going to be excited to see what we have stored in the future for not only this weekend, but the rest of the year. Be sure to follow us on all the social media pages down below at Mighty Matt Go Through on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And be sure to comment down below who your early picks are for the Indianapolis 500 poll, your winners as well, and what you're looking forward to this upcoming weekend in Chicago. And until tomorrow afternoon, this is Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.